Getting to the heart of the matter. Back to Guy, Ben, and Frank with more Inside the News.
Thank you so much for joining us. We are back again with more of Inside the News. This is our international segment, Frank Vernuccio. My name is Guy Wehman and Ben Brunson. And we're going to start right off with a coup. And it's not the coup of what you think of trying to get Donald Trump out of office. This is a coup in another country called Myanmar, which used to be Burma. Ben, go.
Yeah, after lots of talk of metaphorical coups in the United States, coming from both the left and the right, a very real coup occurred this past week in Myanmar. The military threw out Aung San, I can never pronounce her name, Aung San Suu Kyi, and her government, very popular government. There was an election there in November, and her party won about 80% of the popular vote, and essentially has total control over the organs of government. As a result, the military, which Myanmar was a military dictatorship from the 60s until 2015, when Aung was allowed to form a civilian government. The military opposed her party and had its own party, which lost bigly, as Donald Trump would say, in the elections. And why would the military overthrow her at this point? And they've announced they're going to run the country for a year and set up new elections. It's interesting because it really is the classic issue going on in the US, elevated to kind of third world status. The military is the deep state in Myanmar. The military are the guys who make all the money, who control businesses and government money flow, and take a piece in the middle and get rich. And the civilian government was trying to combat a lot of that. So the reason for this coup was the good old fashioned graft reason, the same issue that drove the deep state against Donald Trump. It's just power and graft and the ability to control money and get rich. And the military exercised their ability to seize control of Myanmar, and a civilian government has fallen as a result.
All right, Frank, we got a coup, and I don't know if we can blame this one on Smartmatic or not.
Well, you also can't take out of the equation the influence of China. Certainly, the Chinese have had some influence on the Myanmar military, and that is something to take into account as well. But, in the last segment, we talked about that change in the tide of men. And I think this is yet another element of it. In the United States, as we have the government, particularly under Donald Trump, became more populist, became more approachable by the common citizen. The elites reacted to that. This is exactly what's happening in Myanmar as well. And you're seeing this across the world, this counter-revolution against freedom. And I think we have to understand that even in the context of the impeachment of Donald Trump, the two impeachments of Donald Trump, they are a reaction against individual citizens exercising their rights. It is a global phenomenon that we're enduring. How we'll come out of it remains to be seen.
Make no mistake, the first impeachment was to get him out of office. This second one is to prevent him from getting back in office, because they know if he gets back in, he now knows the workings of Washington now. He figures it out after the first term, and he will uproot the swamp and the deep state. All right, Ben, Israel is on the verge. Go.
Well, the Israelis have made it very clear that they fear Iran is on the verge of a breakout, of becoming a nuclear power, and that is an existential threat to Israel. We've been talking about this for years, but unfortunately, the election of Joe Biden has empowered the Iranians to become more aggressive. They become verbally more aggressive and verbally more open about their nuclear enrichment program. So they're willing to express to the world that they're essentially on the verge of a breakout, in which they do the final push to enrich uranium from 20% uranium-235 to over 80, 85, 90%, which is bomb-grade uranium, the thing you need for a self-sustaining chain reaction. And the Israelis are not going to allow it. And the Israeli military has been quite open in recent weeks in stating that they are prepared to attack Iran to stop and degrade this ability for them to break out. And I have no doubt that they will act on that. And so under Donald Trump and the pressures he put on Iran and walking out of the JCPOA, the horrible Obama deal, there was a hope of containing Iran and maintaining peace. That was the whole Trump policy, which led to great results. That has all been abandoned overnight by Joe Biden. It is empowering Iran once again and leaving a lot of the allies and alliances now in a state of flux. This growing alliance between Israel and the Sunni nations is now in a state of flux. People aren't sure where the United States stands under Joe Biden. So Iran is the big winner, and we may see a massive war in the Middle East as a result.
Okay, Frank, Israel with Iran, and then we also have Taiwan. I mean, they're basically hanging on by a thread, threats by China.
Well, we can talk, of course, about who won the election in the United States, the Democrats or the Republicans. The fact is China won the election in the United States. They bought and paid for Joe Biden, and he is now the president of the United States. China had an opportunity in Hong Kong to actually get Taiwan to possibly agree to closer ties with the Beijing regime. If they had treated Hong Kong the way they were supposed to by treaty, it would have gone a long way, I think, towards increasing their ties with Taiwan. They chose not to. They chose to treat Hong Kong basically as just another part of China, with all the repressive indications that comes with that. So now their only option with Taiwan is a military one. They are somewhat hamstrung by one thing. They want Taiwan as a whole. They don't want just a charred cinder to take over. Taiwan is a millionaire's prize. It is a fantastic economy. It is industrially advanced. They would prefer to take Taiwan whole. They are increasing their military power in the region. They have made a number of incursions into Taiwan airspace, a way of softening up Taiwan's defenses. This would not have occurred to this extent under a Trump administration. They believe that, one, the pacifism of a Biden regime, and two, the fact that Joe Biden is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Beijing regime, might make him reluctant to rush to Taiwan's defense the same way that they were quite sure that Donald Trump would have. And that's where we're going to go from here. That's the danger. And of course, if in fact mainland China attacks and takes Taiwan, I think all bets are off. That's a Sarajevo moment that I think blunders the world into a war which no one wants and could be more devastating than anything we've ever seen before.
All right, we're going to be back. We're going to be talking about our energy policy. And what about this GameStop? Do you fully understand it? Is Wall Street now rebelling against the common guys? We're going to be back.
You're listening to Wehman, Brunson, and Vernuccio, Inside the News.